60% of young adults feel their lives lack purpose. And honestly, it's because we've been told to follow our passion, which is actually terrible advice. Instead of chasing a feeling that might never come, it's time to ask 7 brutally honest questions that will finally reveal what truly drives you. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Just follow your passion and you'll never work a day in your life. It's the ultimate modern fairy tale. We see it plastered on inspirational posters, whispered in graduation speeches, and shouted by influencers from the decks of rented yachts. It sounds so simple, so romantic, as if your life's purpose is a pre-packaged gift hidden somewhere in the world, and all you have to do is find the right wrapping paper. But here's the cold, hard truth. For about 60% of young adults today, that advice isn't just unhelpful, it's actually making them feel like failures. The passion question is a terrible starting point because it puts an enormous amount of pressure on your shoulders to feel a specific, fiery emotion before you've even begun. We've been conditioned to believe that if we aren't waking up every morning with a burning, obsessive desire to do the thing, then we haven't found our purpose yet. This creates a paralyzing passion trap. We sit on the sidelines, waiting for a lightning bolt of inspiration to strike while life passes us by. We think, I can't start that business yet because I'm not sure if I'm passionate about it, or I won't try that new hobby because it doesn't feel like my soul's calling. The reality is that passion is often a byproduct of action, not the cause of it. When we ask, what's my passion? We are looking inward at a void, hoping a map will magically appear. It's a self-centered question that assumes the world revolves around our feelings. This mindset leads to purpose anxiety, that nagging feeling that everyone else has a secret manual for life that you somehow missed during orientation. You look at the person who has loved coding since they were 5, or the artist who breathes paint fumes and you feel behind. But most of us don't work that way. Most purposes aren't found. They are built, brick by brick, through curiosity and trial. Instead of waiting for a grand epiphany, we need to shift our focus. Purpose isn't a destination, it's a direction. It's less about a spark and more about friction. Friction comes from engaging with the world, getting your hands dirty, and asking the kind of brutally honest questions that actually lead somewhere. We need to stop looking for a feeling and start looking for clues. The breadcrumbs left behind by our younger selves, the moments where we lose track of the clock, and the ways we actually make life better for the people standing right in front of us. Breaking free from the passion trap means giving yourself permission to be interested instead of obsessed. It means realizing that a meaningful life is built on a foundation of contribution and consistency, not just a fleeting emotional high. If you're feeling lost or purposeless, don't worry. You're not broken. You've just been asking the wrong question. It's time to stop hunting for a feeling and start investigating the evidence of your own life. We're going to stop looking for the fire and start looking for the fuel that's been there all along. Let's look at a few better questions that won't leave you waiting for a lightning bolt that might never come. Think back to a time before you had a LinkedIn profile, a pile of bills, or a voice in your head telling you what was productive. Think back to when you were 7, 8, or 10 years old. Back then, you didn't have a personal brand, and you certainly weren't worried about your 5-year plan. You just did things because they felt right. But then, life happened. High school, college, and the real world stepped in like a stern librarian, shushing your instincts and telling you to focus on what's practical, what's normal, and what fits on a resume. Somewhere along the way, most of us buried the very things that made us unique. We traded our weirdness for a seat at the table of conformity. We stopped drawing the strange creatures in the margins of our notebooks because they didn't help us pass algebra. We stopped obsessing over the mechanics of how a toaster works because we were told to focus on useful skills. But here is the secret. Those childhood quirks weren't just phases. They were indicators. They were the first flickers of what actually drives you when no one is watching and no one is paying you. Take a second to look at the kids who were considered odd. Maybe you were the kid who spent 3 days straight building a miniature city out of cardboard boxes. Or maybe you were the one who memorized every single stat on the back of a baseball card, or the one who could sit in the grass for an hour just watching how ants moved. At the time, your peers might have thought you were weird. Hell, you might have thought you were weird. But that weirdness is actually your edge. It's the purest form of interest you will ever experience because it was entirely uncorrupted by the need for status or money. Research actually backs this up. About a third of people find that the way they played as children directly influences their adult career paths, if they are brave enough to listen to those echoes. The boy who is obsessed with Legos isn't just a fan of plastic bricks. He's someone who finds deep meaning in structure, logic, and building something from nothing. The girl who used to write elaborate plays for her stuffed animals isn't just playing pretend. She's a storyteller who understands narrative and emotional stakes. The problem is that we treat our younger selves like a different person entirely, someone we grew out of. But you didn't grow out of those interests. You just layered expectations on top of them. Reclaiming your purpose often requires a bit of archaeology. You have to dig through the layers of shoulds and musts to find the things that once made you joyful. So, here is your homework. Revisit that younger version of you. What were you doing when you were 10 years old and the sun went down without you noticing? What was the weird thing you did that you eventually stopped doing because you wanted to fit in? Don't dismiss it as just a kid thing. If you loved organizing your toy cars by color and year, maybe you have a natural gift for systems and data. If you were the kid who always stood up for the one being bullied, maybe your purpose is rooted in justice or advocacy. Write those things down. Don't judge them. Just look at the list. Somewhere in that pile of childhood hobbies is a clue to your adult drive. You don't have to become a professional Lego builder or a comic book artist tomorrow, but you can start inviting that version of yourself back into the room. When you embrace the parts of you that were weird before the world told you not to be, you're not just reminiscing. You're reconnecting with the raw material of your purpose. The sandbox might be gone, but the person who played in it is still very much alive inside you. Finding those childhood echoes is just the first step. But how do you actually turn those insights into a new reality? If you're ready to stop reflecting and start acting, I've designed a roadmap for you. My ebook, 30 Days to a Better You, is a practical guide to help you bridge the gap between who you were and who you're meant to be. Pick up your copy at the link below, and let's spend the next month building your foundation before we dive into our next topic, mastering the time warp effect. Have you ever looked at your phone, expecting to see that 20 minutes have passed, only to realize it's been 4 hours? The sun has gone down, your coffee is cold, and you've forgotten to eat, but you don't actually feel tired. In fact, you feel more alive than you did when you started. This isn't just a random glitch in your brain. It's one of the most reliable compasses for finding your purpose. It's what psychologists call flow, and it's the closest thing we have to a real-life superpower. Flow is that state of total immersion where the rest of the world just vanishes. The ego disappears, the voice in your head that worries about your bills or your social standing goes quiet, and there is only the task at hand. For some, it happens while they're deep in a complex spreadsheet, finding the one error that makes the data click. For others, it's while they're gardening, or editing a video, or explaining a difficult concept to a friend. Whatever the activity is, the reward isn't the finish line, it's the process itself. The reason this time warp effect is so critical to your purpose is that it reveals your intrinsic motivation. In a world that is obsessed with grinding and hustling for external rewards, like a fatter paycheck, a better title, or more likes, flow is the one thing you do for the pure challenge and joy of it. If you find yourself in a flow state, it's a biological signal that you have found an intersection between your highest skills and a challenge that is just difficult enough to keep you engaged. It is the opposite of checking the clock at a job you hate. Think about your typical week. When do you find yourself leaning in? When does the boredom of daily life give way to a sense of effortless focus? We often dismiss these moments as distractions or hobbies. We think, oh, I just got sucked into fixing that old engine, or I spent way too much time designing that presentation. But those aren't distractions. They are evidence. They are the moments where your brain is firing on all cylinders, signaling that you are doing exactly what you were designed to do. Many people spend their entire lives looking for a purpose that feels like work, assuming that if it's important, it must be a struggle. But the most impactful people in history, the scientists, the artists, the engineers, were usually people who were simply following the trail of their own flow states. They weren't working in the traditional sense. They were playing at a very high level. When you are in flow, you aren't forcing yourself to be disciplined. You are being pulled forward by the activity itself. So, start tracking your time warps. For the next few days, pay attention to the moments when the clock seems to accelerate. Was it when you were organizing a messy closet? Was it when you were writing a long-winded email to explain a new idea? Was it when you were helping a neighbor troubleshoot their Wi-Fi? Don't judge the activity based on how impressive it sounds to others. If it makes time melt away, it is a clue to your unique contribution. Purpose isn't always a grand, heroic gesture. Sometimes, it's simply finding the thing that allows you to lose yourself so that you can find your best work. When you find the activities that warp time, you've found the fuel for a life that doesn't just look good on the outside, but feels meaningful on the inside. You aren't just passing time anymore. You're finally living in it. We often think of finding our purpose as a solo mission, a deep, internal dive into the caves of our own minds. We believe that if we just think hard enough or journal long enough, the answer will appear on the wall like a cave painting. But the truth is that we are often the worst judges of our own greatness. We are so close to our own talents that we don't even see them as talents. We just see them as the things I do. This is why, to find your direction, you sometimes have to stop looking in the mirror and start looking at the people standing right in front of you. Think about the thank yous you receive. Not the polite, reflexive thanks when you hold a door open, but the specific, heartfelt ones. What do people consistently come to you for? What is the thing you do so effortlessly that you're almost embarrassed to be thanked for it? Maybe your friends always say, "Thanks for talking me through that. I feel so much better now." Or perhaps a colleague says, "I don't know how you made sense of that mess, but thank you." These moments are clues. They are the world reflecting back to you the value you provide that you might be taking for granted. In psychology, there's a concept called the curse of knowledge, but there's also a curse of competence. When you are naturally good at something, whether it's organizing a chaotic schedule, de-escalating a tense argument, or explaining how to fix a computer, you assume it's easy for everyone else, too. You think, why are they thanking me for this? It took me 5 minutes. But that's exactly the point. The thing that is easy for you, but difficult for others, is your unique contribution. It is the intersection where what you love meets what the world needs. If you aren't sure what your superpower is, there is a simple, slightly terrifying, but incredibly effective solution. Ask. We are often blind to our own impact. In one famous exercise, people were asked to send a short message to 5 friends or mentors asking one simple question: when do you see me at my best? The responses are almost never what the person expects. They don't usually say, "I see you at your best when you're working on your resume." They say things like, "I see you at your best when you're helping people navigate a tough decision," or "You're at your best when you're making people feel seen and heard." The gratitude of others is a compass that points toward your purpose. Purpose, at its core, is a bridge. One side is built from your internal interests and skills, but the other side must be anchored in the lives of other people. Without that anchor, it's just a hobby. With it, it becomes a mission. When you look at what people thank you for, you are looking at the demand side of your life. You are seeing where your puzzle piece actually fits into the larger picture of your community. Don't wait for a trophy or a promotion to tell you that you're on the right track. Look at the small, daily ripples you create. If you are the person people go to when they need a laugh, maybe your purpose involves bringing light to dark places. If you are the person they go to when they need the brutally honest truth, Maybe your purpose is rooted in clarity and integrity. These thank yous are breadcrumbs. If you follow them, they won't lead you to a vague feeling of passion. They will lead you to a concrete place where you are needed. And being needed is one of the most powerful ways to feel like your life has a point. There is a finality to the human experience that we usually spend our entire lives trying to ignore. We tuck the idea of aging and the end of our story into a dark corner of our minds, labeling it as too morbid or too heavy for a Tuesday afternoon. But if you want to find the clearest, most distilled version of your purpose, you have to go to the end. You have to skip past the midlife crises, the career ladders, and the daily hustle, and place yourself in a chair at 90 years old. Imagine yourself there. Maybe you're a bit slower, your hands have more stories etched into them, and the world looks very different than it does today. From that vantage point, looking back across the decades, what will actually matter? When the noise of the present finally fades, what is the one sentence that summarizes your time on this planet? This isn't just a creative writing exercise, it's a filter. It's a way to strip away the distractions that consume 90% of our energy. The likes, the status symbols, the petty arguments, and focus on the legacy that remains. The truth about regret is that it rarely comes from the things we did and failed at. Research consistently shows that as we age, our biggest regrets are inaction regrets. We don't regret the business that went bankrupt as much as we regret the one we never started. We don't regret the trip where everything went wrong as much as we regret the year we stayed home because we were too busy. At 90, the sting of a bruised ego is gone, but the weight of a missed opportunity remains. Your purpose is often found in the things your future self is begging you to be bold enough to do right now. Think about the sentence. A great life can usually be summarized in one. For Nelson Mandela, it might be that he ended apartheid and united a nation. For a dedicated teacher, it might be that she helped hundreds of children believe they were capable of greatness. For a parent, it might be that he built a foundation of love that lasted for generations. What do you want your sentence to be? If you had to boil your entire existence down to a single line, what would you want it to say? If your current life doesn't match that sentence, that's okay. That's actually the point. The sentence is a guiding light, not a prison sentence. It's a way to look at tomorrow's to-do list and ask, does any of this help write the chapter I want to leave behind? If your sentence is about helping people find health, but you're spending all your time in a job that drains your own, it's a sign that a pivot is needed. If your sentence is about creating art that moves people, but you haven't picked up a brush in 3 years, your 90-year-old self is currently waving a red flag. Finding your purpose isn't about achieving perfection, it's about alignment. It's about making sure that the story you are writing today is one you'll be proud to read when the book is nearly finished. We often live like we have an infinite number of chapters, but the reality is that the ink is drying on the page as we speak. So take a moment to look at the horizon. Don't ask what will make you famous or what will make you rich next month. Ask what will make you smile when you're 90. Ask what would make you look back and say, I didn't play it safe, but I played it well. Your purpose isn't some mystical secret hidden in the stars. It's the legacy you are building with every choice you make today. You are the author of this story. Make sure the final chapter is worth the journey.